joined now by the driver of the number 78 Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats Toyota, Martin Truex Jr. Martin, you were involved in one of the most historic close finishes earlier in our most recent restrictor plate race this year. What do you think this weekend holds?
Hopefully about 2 foot in front of the second place guy at the finish line. So definitely looking forward to the weekend, obviously. It's always exciting to come here to Talladega and feel good about, we brought the same race car we had at Daytona, so it should be fast, and look forward to go out there and go racing and have some fun and hopefully be around at the end. I think if we can get to the end, which is usually the most difficult part of this race, we'll have a shot at it, so looking forward to it.
Excellent. We'll go straight into questions. We'll start over here with Jonathan, then go to Tom, then Jordan.
Martin, to your right, Jonathan Merriman, NASCAR.com. What goes into prepping a race car that got done running 500 miles plus at Daytona? Is it simple come back, make a motor swap, clean it up, send it back out there? What changes do you guys make after that car goes, through speed weeks?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it differs depending on the racetracks. I think for restrictor plate cars, I would say there's probably less changed, just based on the fact that we've had the same rules package at the restrictor plate tracks for a couple years now. And so there's not a whole lot of, gains to be found in wind tunnel, things like that. So it's really just about, taking the thing apart, rebuilding it again for another 500-mile race. I really don't think they've spent a ton of time on it. Most teams focus on where we race the most, which is, downforce tracks and short tracks. So I would say it's real similar to what we had at Daytona, just, rebuilt, new engine, and ready to go for 500 miles.
We'll go to Tom right here.
Hi, Martin. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. At Daytona, the 5 Toyotas got on the bottom and stuck there for a long time at the end of the race. You guys going to do that again?
Hopefully. It worked out pretty good. So I think that there'll be a lot of other teams out there trying to probably pull off the same thing. So we'll just have to see. But, our cars were all really fast, and the drivers all did a really good job of working together. It takes full commitment, 100% from all the guys in our camp to be able to do what we did at Daytona. So it was really neat for me to be a part of that. That was our first race at Furniture Row with Toyota and with the JGR Alliance. And the way that worked for us was just awesome. And it was really neat to be a part of that, to see the teamwork and everybody really working together throughout all the speed weeks, and especially in 500. So I think if we can make it work, and we obviously all get in that position, I think we'll try to make it work. But there's no guarantees that it will work as well this time. Different racetrack, typically there's 3 or 4 grooves of racing here, where Daytona it's usually 2 or 3. So it's a little bit different, but hopefully we'll be able to make it work if we can.
We'll go in the middle to Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. Martin, do you feel like the plate races in recent years have become more driver tracks in the sense that the drivers have more control, and it's not, like crapshoot that everybody talks about? Because we look at the winners here, it's the same guys are kind of winning again and again.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's always been, the driver has always played a big role in these races, just because of the decisions you have to make. And certainly you have to have a fast race car. That's always a big part of what we do, and you just got to have that good combination. But it's the crapshoot part of it really is just, if you ever get shuffled out at the wrong time and the big wreck happens and you're in it, there's nothing you can really do about that. We see guys ride around the back all day trying to miss it. We see guys that say, hey, I'm going to try to stay up front all day and hope that it's behind me. That's really the crapshoot part of it. But to win these races consistently, you have to have a fast car, and you have to, have really good skills at drafting. We've seen Dale Jr. over the years just really show everybody how it's done, and that's because he has a really good understanding of the air, the way it works, and knowing how to use that to his advantage. So for me, it's been, I've kind of had good races and bad, and lately I feel like I've learned a lot more and gotten better at it, but there's still a lot to learn. So looking forward to this weekend, and hopefully learning more and just making the right decisions at the end, because that's when it's most important.
We'll stay here in the middle and go to Matt.
Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com, right behind Jordan. Given the fine to Tony Stewart last week and then Danica Patrick saying that she really didn't know what she could say that would result in a fine, for you and the other drivers, is there kind of a balance that you guys have to strike between not saying something when expressing your opinion that would hurt the brand of NASCAR, hurt your sponsors, but also being able to feel like, hey, we've got this platform, this forum, and we've got to be able to express it honestly?
Yeah, I think it's it's definitely a balance, and you have to be smart about the way you word things, I guess. I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is we're all in this for the same thing, and if you have an opinion, the best way, obviously, and what NASCAR wants from us is to go to them first, and express our displeasure with them, and try to come up with a solution without bad mouthing them in the media. So, I don't have a problem with that at all. I think some guys are definitely a little bit unclear on what they can and can't say, but at the end of the day, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. If you have something bad to say, go to NASCAR and talk to them about it. So I've never really had any trouble with that, so I'm not really too worried about it.
We're going to go over here to Woody, and then we'll finish up with Reed.
Woody came with MRN. Martin, with Mother's Day coming up, I saw a story one time about where you said your mom saw you wreck earlier in your career and you thought that might be the end of it. Just recount that and tell us how she helped you get to where you are.
So when I was a kid, when I started racing go-karts, my dad was racing as well. So a lot of the weekends when I was racing and at the racetrack, my mom would take me. And she was pretty nervous about it at first, obviously, 10, 11-year-old kid. She's like, I don't want you to do this. And we're, racing go-karts, a bunch of kids just being crazy. And it was one of the first weekends I'd raced. I'd probably only ran 4 or 5 races, and somehow somebody had hit me in the back and ended up on top of me, basically. Like, the cart was sitting on my head, and that was... she was pretty freaked out by it. I'm like, Mom, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm fine. Look at me. She's like, she was a mess. So... it was almost the end, but luckily she let me keep going.
We'll finish over here with Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. We're approaching the 10th race of the year. You've now had experience with the new package on short tracks, downforce tracks. How at this point would you assess the new racing package? What effect has it had on the racing? And what's the difference between this year and last year that you've noticed most?
Well, I think the biggest thing I've noticed is just the ability to race well in traffic, the ability to run fast behind a car. If you run a guy down, you don't hit that wall 3 or 4 cars back, and you can't go as fast as you were going before. So it gives you a lot more options in traffic, a lot more passing going on. A few years ago when we had a lot of downforce, when they dropped the green flag in the race, and if you were mid-pack, you were out of control and you couldn't go anywhere. And I've seen a lot less of that. Obviously the tires are a big part of what we're doing with the low downforce, with the tires wearing out and the cars slowing down as the runs goes on. It's really opened up a lot of opportunities. We've seen some of the races where guys that maybe aren't some of the fastest cars or don't have really good speed throughout the weekend, all of a sudden 15, 20 laps in a run, they start coming to the front because their cars handle well. So it's just giving guys a lot more opportunities to pass and to make the racing exciting. I feel like it's been a lot more fun to drive the cars. It's been a lot more fun to race with people, moving around, finding new grooves. I thought, just look at what we've seen at Richmond last weekend. That was the first time in years that we've run anywhere except for the bottom. We ran all over the track, and that's just highly, unlikely for Richmond typically. So I think it's been really good. I feel like the races have been exciting and a lot more fun than past years. And, I think it'll just continue to get better as we take downforce off and make the tires softer yet.
Martin, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.